Welcome to Ask Dr. Change. I'm Dr. Linda Ackerman Anderson. I'm happy to have you join me today to explore how to seriously up-level your leadership and consulting to transformational changes, all through conscious change leadership. Welcome to this episode of the Change Leaders Roadmap Methodology series. Now we're focusing on phase 4 of the CLR's 9 phases. Design the desired state. In episode 41 of Ask Dr. Change, I went into great depth about the whole design process and structure and options. I would strongly encourage you to review that episode for greater detail than I will cover today. But today I want to give you an overview of design to complete the process. Recall in phase 3 were generated design requirements. That then gets given to whoever is going to do the design process for your project solution. So here, the first major task here, the activity is design the desired state, same as the phase name. The first task is design the process and structure to accomplish the design of your ideal solution. Now, this is where episode 41 goes into great depth. Who will do the design? How will they do it? What process will they use? Who will they ask for input to the design? They're given design requirements. That's great. And so how will they use them and who will oversee the use of them? In terms of who does the design, you may have a design team. Maybe that's all internal people, your content experts, your subject matter experts. Maybe it's a combination of internal folks and an external consulting or content expert coming in to help with the design. We often see that. And the challenge that we have with externals coming in is they bring their solution, and some honestly don't necessarily align with what the organization actually needs. They just bring in their proven solution. So in this case, in the process, when you're using external experts, you always want to make sure that what they are offering fits your design requirements and the needs of the organization. So you may also have the leaders do the design and then look at its impacts from there. You may have internal end users involved in the design. So there are lots of different options to consider for who actually does the design. And then how you'll structure the process. There's input given to whoever you identify to do the design, a team or individuals. And then there's a process of coming up with various scenarios. There has to be some kind of evaluation of those scenarios. And then perhaps you'll do pilot tests of scenarios and then ultimately make a decision about optimal design for your future state. So that kind of reflects the tasks of phase 4. The first task is create the process and structure to design the desired state. So as I said, who will do it? In what form? What structure will they use? What process will they use? How will the decision be made? How will design requirements be used? And what will happen to the various scenarios they come up with. The second task is to do that design work. They actually execute. Do you want to check in on them? Do you want to be able to course correct what they're doing, what they're thinking? And really important, are they looking at designing a 4-quadrant solution? This is really key. And so the optimal design of the future state, does it identify and reflect the kind of mindset both leaders and end users need to have for that future state to work? Does it involve specific behavior that's required for them to actually do the work? Does it embed cultural dynamics that are essential to sustaining that future state? And then, of course, the content, the technical or structural or business process, a policy aspect of the project that you're actually delivering on. So what's really critical here is that the design of the process, especially this design task, is carefully monitored from a conscious perspective, from a 4-quadrant perspective. Know that the design of your process and the delivery of that design it has critical implications for how your end users, your stakeholders, will respond. Do they feel engaged? Do they feel taken account of, their needs taken account of? Do they feel that it's being done to them? This is mandated to them. They don't like it. The interface with your stakeholders really critical during the design phase. So many organizations do the design phase in secret and then lay it on their stakeholders. Not a positive experience from our standpoint. So how can you work with stakeholders? Let them know what's happening. Let them ask questions about what's required, what they think will work. Always in the context of moving forward. This is not asking them about what they don't want. It's asking them how they think it could work to be optimally executed and implemented and sustained for the future. Next is pilot test. So do you need to try out solution A or solution B or just one solution? And how will you design the pilot? Not all organizations need to pilot. Many do, especially around technology or new structural designs as well. In one organization that we worked with, we had two major scenarios. They determined, because of the magnitude of this transformation, to spend a year piloting option A and option B in different areas of the organization out in the field. And that was a big investment, spending a year, let alone how they invested time, energy, and money in doing so. At the end of that year, they did an assessment of what worked about option A or option B, and then formulated their ideal solution based upon that. That was a lengthy experience from my standpoint, but they were invested in making it work. So pilot testing is clearly an option. What the pilot may generate is the need for a redesign of the solution, and certainly will generate lots of important impact in the next phase after design, which is impact analysis, which we'll get to in the next episode. But lots of data shows up in the execution of pilots about, again, from a four-quadrant standpoint. What about the mindset is or isn't working? What behaviors are or not being done? What cultural norms are in the way? And then is the solution accurately designed to the needs so that it can be adopted and sustained? Really important dynamics to keep in mind from a conscious change leadership perspective. The last task of phase 4 is then actually the determination has been made and you communicate the design of the future state. Your stakeholders and the organization will be on pins and needles until this information is shared with them. What are we actually going to be doing? What are you going to do to me? And so know that that's kind of the condition of the audience when you come out with saying, this is what we're actually going to do. Again, communicating in a four-quadrant way. There are times in the design where we're communicating different magnitudes of design, from the vision level, which is a part of our compelling story, to a strategic level. We're moving towards business lines and out of functional, to managerial. We're going to have these kinds of decision-making teams, and operational, we need this many people in these functions. So different magnitudes and different levels of design might be communicated at different times. Again, episode 41 goes into the levels of design in greater detail. So I encourage you to review that episode as well for more detail on all of this. So how you design the design process has everything to do with coming up with the best solution, and one that you know meets the design requirements, hasn't crossed any boundary conditions, and will actually able to be adopted and sustained for the benefit of the organization. That's phase 4. We're moving on to impact analysis in phase 5 coming next. I hope you found some value in this and you'll really explore how to alter the ways in which you do design today so that you have a more conscious approach, a more four-quadrant approach, and your solutions are better for the organization. Thanks for spending some time with me today. Thanks for spending some time with me today. I hope you gained some valuable insights for your work. Please send me your questions and challenges by going to askdrchange.com.